what inspired me to do this new book?
You had one, no? You had one previous book.
Yeah. I wrote, I lost my job and I liked it after losing my first job. And I wrote the second book because I wanted to make the first book a bestseller. And I had an obsession to, oh my God, it's going to be a bestseller and I'm going to make money and all this. And it became such an obsession and they became so much suffering and things were not going my way. And I had like this inner struggle that at the end, I really found myself in a place of something needs to change. I can't continue living this way. And so I thought it would be interesting to record again the whole process and how I applied the universal laws. And along the way, some interesting people came, like Baptiste, that is a filmmaker, and the people I was interviewing and all of that. Everybody like starting becoming angels and pointing, everybody was pointing at the heart and the soul and the inner work I had to do and not being fulfilled and joyful from how I was related to myself before, which was from the job and the money I was making and all of that. So I really thought it was interesting to record, and I didn't know what was what the outcome would be, but I thought it would be interesting to record from where I was at to whatever it's going to lead to. And to my biggest surprise, it led to really discovering what true abundance is and how life can show up when we start living with an open heart. Well, the first book, was called I Lost My Job and I Liked It.
And this one?
And this book is called I Had No Money and I Liked It. So it's a series. This is the second one of a whole series, and all of them are color-coded. So this one is green, the first one was red, and then the next one is on the Juicy Living Tour, and the insights, the magic, This one happens over a course of nearly a year, right after losing my job. Because the first book was over a period of 30 days. And then really, okay, I discover what I want to do, but what does it take to make it happen? And I discovered the whole gap that there was between my dreams and where I was at. So there was some internal work to do and some healing and letting go and finally being okay with the place where I was at and opening to people around me and telling them the truth. So it is completely related, yeah, the losing your job, and then it's like this spiral that you go into. And so from losing my job, then having no money, then having to live back at my parents at 32 after being a director of marketing and driving a BMW. That was just the most humbling moment. And I had to face that and to say it and to speak it out and to let my friends know. And after living so many years in the US and living the dream, it's just... Well, the main thing is when the day I found out that I had no more money on my account and I was living in an expensive city as London, a lot of fears come up. And it's just like this, how am I going to deal with that? What am I going to do? I can no longer live the way I've been living. Am I going to what kind of sacrifice am I making? Why am I not supported? What is next? And panic attacks start emerging, and I shared those panic attacks through my YouTube video blogs, because I was just, there's this moment where I was in Hyde Park and walking, and I just didn't know, it was so intense. Everything, my whole world was shaking. And I think that's part of the awakening process that a lot of people are going through, going from one world that is very material to then going into a world that is trusting and believing and stepping in the unknown and following your heart and your inner guidance. But there was so much suffering where I was at. Something had to happen, and I was on my knees and praying, in that moment. Please help me. I don't see any solution here. Why so much suffering? Why am I in this place where nothing is happening? Why is it stopped? Why? I'm trying to reason this when there was no reason, really. But the fact that I was praying got me to a deeper level and starting to tapping in something bigger that I had never tapped before, because I was trying to do it on my own all the time. then that's really where the meaning of the co-creation took place. I think this book is a lot deeper and a lot more intimate than the first one. The first one is more the mechanic after losing your job and then applying universal laws and the support I was getting from the community and from online to help me constantly be back into a positive way of thinking and shifting things. But this one is really, really the work, the work that had to happen, and I think that's the opportunity for all of us. That's why I wanted to share this journey, to go from this old world to this new earth, to this new way of being. And that's the transition I made, and you can clearly see, I saw how my own world was just opening up. It was just way more fulfilling for nothing. It's not an external thing that would bring me that fulfillment.
And what I'm curious to know is that
I was happy, and I've always been a happy person, but it was never enough. Nothing could satisfy me. It was always, oh, I need more. And I would spend a lot of money. And I would have credit cards, and it would just like never been enough. And it was a lot of fears and scariness to be able to continue to pay the bills too, and to do more, and to get a new client, and to do this and to do that. So there was a whole other, the mental was playing such a big loud tape of fear that then I wasn't freeing to be myself and to follow the bliss and to follow my creativity in my heart. So from the moment I started discovering what real abundance is, and there's a lot of gratitude. I went through a lot of gratitude for every single little thing that I had. And so I think the more we're grateful for things, the more it creates magic. And I started being grateful for having a roof over my head, for having a conversation with my mom, for being able to go back to my parents to heal some of the past relationships, for having a YouTube channel where I could share my thoughts, for having the friends and the angel friends that came in my life. And all of that started to create more and more and more joy and compassion and connection to others. And I started saying to my friends what I was really going through. And I had never really opened up, because all my life I tried to create this inner bubble. This bubble where I would just, nobody could really get in. So I wasn't being intimate. I had some relationships, but they were not, I was scared to open up. I was scared to open my heart. My parents divorced when I was 12, and from that moment I shut it off. So everything in my life was about protecting the heart. I didn't want to love. I didn't want to let people too close in. I was afraid. But once the heart started to open, and now that I can love and I can be and I can feel the abundance, it's just like life is showing in a miraculous, beautiful, beautiful way. Like money can never bring that. The true abundance, I feel, is being in that juice of life and following our blessing and our calling and allowing yourself to co-create with others and with the universe and dreaming and knowing that you deserve it. So I think the abundance comes with an open heart, which is also about self-love and loving yourself enough to know that you deserve it, and that you can love again, and that you can express your feeling, and that you can express the joy and connect with anybody that you want and co-create whatever you want. But it's the abundance is truly the juice of life and the substance of life. It's like living, it's like feeling, it's like being in the now. And frankly, from that point forward, I really felt the true abundance, meaning not the material and what it looks like and the judgment that others might have because you're wearing this, or because you're having this bag, or because you're having this. But it's really then the essence of that thing, or of that connection, or of that feeling of like you're in the real, the core of things. And you're fulfilled and you feel abundant because there's no limitation then. It's not about a possession. It's about really knowing that you're aligned with your heart, that you deserve it, and that you're enjoying it, you're grateful for what you have, and it's unconditional. It's not conditional of the money that you have on the account. You find yourself in an unlimited place where all is possible, and that you know that if there is not the money, then there is a good reason why you don't have the money right now, because there is another thing that needs to happen or that you need to do or see before. Money is great, but we all find always excuses. Oh, I don't have the money, so I can't do this. This is one of the biggest screwed up limiting beliefs that exist. Complete trust in the universe. And that's a process too, because to trust the universe and to trust life, you have to trust yourself. So it always comes back to knowing, to this self-love. You have to fill yourself up with love, and then it overflows. So yeah, it's the trusting in the universe, yeah. Trusting that everything will be provided, and all you gotta do is take that first step. Take that first step in the unknown, and then knowing, a deep knowing that all is provided. Like now, nearly a year and a half later, I can tell you that all of the Juicy Living Tour has been the most abundant journey I've ever had and witnessed. To be sitting here in Mexico and to be in this beautiful villa on the beach, and to have everything provided all along the Juicy Tour wherever I was, and to feel the community and the support and the love and the exchange. I mean, this is like so juicy. This is the abundance. And that's what my next book is going to be about, because it was, that whole year of the Juicy Living Tour was a full quantum leap, even further and even deeper. It's like, oh yeah, now I understand what abundance is. But now where I'm at is even more understanding how magical life can be. Like at that time, so when I look back, I'm like, oh no, but I want to add this and this to it.
Of course.
But no, that's the next one. I think there's a lot of us on planet Earth are, losing your job, or can't pay any more the mortgage, or have to change our whole lifestyle, and I think a lot of us are going through this process. This book happens when I'm living in London and in France, and I had, the same way that I did the first one, I take the iPhone and I recorded it as memos. So nearly every day for a year I recorded my thoughts and the challenges and the panic attacks, or it was like really sharing myself. And then what happens is from there, there's some person that transcribes it, so you put it in writing, and then from that writing then condense it, and then it makes a book. So the same way then the first one was done, people, the result is that when people read it, is that you feel part of it and you're right there. And I am indeed talking to everybody. And that really helped me. I could already feel in that moment when I was in the streets of London and panicking, the connection with the reader already then. I was already with all the co-creators, and I was tapping already in that, and I could feel the thousands of people right there that I was talking to. The same way that when I do a video blog, I talk directly to the people watching. It's like there's no really time-space in that moment. So I was already, 2 years before, already connecting and tapping into this infinite resource. Yeah, because then there was no more separation. And I think that's the separation that locks in, that suppresses the abundance. From the moment I was starting to speak up my feelings and sharing them and opening up, then I was who I was. Good or bad, take it or leave it, this is who I am. And from that moment when we know that who we are is just who we are, then we can show up and do anything we want. And then we have more joy, and we become more of our inner child comes out, and we take initiatives that are not in order to impress my family or my friends or to prove myself this or that. It becomes just an adventure. And that's in that adventure that life shows up in a magical way. So yes, it's related to abundance completely. I think there's no true abundance before we truly show up and we're authentic and vulnerable and personal, not personal, but just unconditional. the more we let go of those past events and are just ourselves and comfortable with who we are and do it from the heart and unconditionally because we just want to do it, then life is amazing. All my work, all the interviews are, for free online. And the authors don't pay me to do those interviews. And yet, there is the whole life that shows abundance and that supports me in every single step of the way. Do I have much on my account? No. Is that related to happiness? No. We've seen it hundreds of times. The money supports a lot, but I think we reversed it. So I'm just rediscovering on this journey who I am.